Now, I'm going to try my best to make this brief, because talking in depth about these characters and their character development would reveal huge spoilers for the show, and I really don't want to do that, because I love the show, and I'm really hoping that my review of the show will make people want to go watch it. And if I reveal character development and spoilers and what these characters go through, then that would kind of be defeating the purpose of me wanting to make people watch it, because that just kind of ruins a lot of their development and a lot of the interest in the show. So, again, this is just going to be a brief review of the team as a whole, as well as each of the individual characters. Just a brief. First up is the captain of the Gokai Galleon and the leader of the Gokaigers, Captain Marvelous! Now, Captain Marvelous is quite unpredictable. I would often predict that he would do one thing and he would do the exact opposite, which would often lead to very interesting situations and character moments for both him and the rest of his crew. Now, many of these instances are brought up by Captain Marvelous's curiosity getting the better of him, and his actions are set out to satisfy said curiosity. And in many of these instances, he explains his actions by saying that's what pirates would do. He normally does this to cover up for, let's say, his heart of gold, if you will. Because he still needs to put on the pirate facade, even though he does have a heart, and it's very clear. Now, for the most part, Captain Marvelous is unpredictable. But there is one thing that remains constant about his character throughout the entire series, and that is his love for his crew. The Gokaigers are his family. He loves and respects them. He'll protect them until the day he dies. But he also knows to give each member their own space. And if they need to go out and do something to, let's say, further their character in terms of the story, or if they just need to be by themselves, then he'll let them do that. But he'll also always keep a watchful eye on them. And if they are in danger, he'll step in if he needs to. Now, that's a very reasonable and good person. I really enjoy Captain Marvelous, and he was my favorite character of the series, up until a future character, which I will get into later. Up next is the rogue with an undying thirst for treasure, and that is Luca. I want to call Luca a tomboy, but I feel that would be a bit too general. She's strong, independent, and doesn't really take any shit from anyone. She'll kick your ass, but then she'll go shopping for some diamonds. Now, you know how diamonds are normally referred to as a girl's best friend? Well, for Luca, diamonds and treasure in general are more like crack. Well, that's going a bit too far. She does have quite the thirst for treasure, and she does understand the value of every dollar. She'll most likely go after the treasure more frequently than, let's say, Joe or even Captain Marvelous would, but she will stop or she'll sacrifice the treasure for her crew, because her crew is obviously much more important than the treasure. Now, whenever Luca is confronted with something frustrating or annoying, she'll often say, more, what surprisingly didn't get annoying and is a very nice little character quirk for her. Now, next up is the princess with the mostess, I'm. Next up is the graceful and gentle I'm. I'm is the princess of the group. Now, I don't mean like she acts like a little spoiled brat. No. She is far from that. She is an actual princess. I like to call her the Princess of Tea, since she's always serving the team her signature tea. She is almost the exact opposite of what you think a pirate would be. She's gentle, graceful, kind, and understanding. Oftentimes, she's the first person to go in and help someone who is injured during a fight. Like if there's a civilian, she'll be the first one to be like, hey, let's go help them. Now, her gentle and kind demeanor often throws off her enemies and causes them to underestimate her, since she doesn't seem like that much of a threat or a very threatening person, but she will kick your ass. Now, granted, it would be a very graceful and polite ass-kicking, but an ass-kicking nonetheless. Next up is the lovable goofball, Doc. Now, Doc is the main comic relief of the team. He's the one that usually gives the most pratfalls or humor, and he's the tech expert of the show, well, as much of a tech expert as Doc can get. Now, unlike most of the other team, Doc doesn't really confront enemies head on. Like, if there's a brand new enemy that shows up, Luca will call it a dumbass, and Captain Marvelous will just shoot it in the face. Doc, on the other hand, most likely will cower behind Luca in fear. Now, this action normally leads to Luca elbowing him in the chest or just hurting him in some manner. Now, he might not be the manliest of men, but he is pretty adorable and a lot of fun to watch on screen. Like I mentioned in the action segment, his actions are pretty kind of goofy and slapsticky, but they get the job done, and he himself is a really, really fun character, and his cowardice never really makes you hate him. You just kind of keep loving the little goofball. Now, finally, actually not finally, that was a misstep. I'm sorry, but I'm too lazy to re-record this, so I'll just keep rambling on. Next up is, I guess you could say that Joe is the token cool guy, but that would do him a bit of disservice. He's usually very calm and collected, and as a master swordsman, he prides himself in his abilities and his loyalty towards Marvelous and the rest of the crew. During most of the downtime on the galleon, he can be seen doing push-ups and other forms of exercise in order to keep his body in tip-top shape. Now, Joe's backstory is, well, at least to me, is a very interesting one. I don't want to spoil it, but it is much better if you experience it for yourselves. Joe is a really good character, I find. Even though he is very calm and doesn't talk that much, he isn't boring, and when there are episodes devoted to him, they are interesting, and unlike most characters who are cool, calm, and collect lightning, he does have personality and emotions, and he is a really, really good character. Now, of course, that's just my opinion. Your opinion could be different, but I'm the one making the video, so that's what this final verdict is going to be about Joe. Now, last but certainly not least, we have the sixth member of the Gokaigers, Gokai Silva, also known as Ikari Guy. Now, Guy is my favorite character. He is an Earthling who shocks the team with his Gokai powers. Guy is so much fun to watch on screen. He's energetic, fun, caring, eccentric, and let's not forget he has an undying fanboy love for Super Sentai. That's right, we have a Super Sentai fanboy on a Super Sentai team. It's brilliant. His interactions with the guest stars in the series are my favorite moments. They are so just hilarious to watch. He is such a fanboy, and he absolutely loves being a Gokaiger, and nothing else will ever top it for him. And that is very clear on screen. The way the actor portrays him is very, very fanboy and real. You can tell he's having the time of his life being a Gokaiger, and to me, it's such a joy to watch. And he is my favorite character out of Gokaiger. And out of the 3 Sentai that I've seen so far, he is my favorite character out of Super Sentai. Now on to the villains of the series. The villains of the series are the Zangyak Empire. Now, the Zangyak Empire is just mainly there to conquer Earth for their empire, and the characters aren't really all that stand out. None of them really felt just interesting. Like, the main guy didn't, any of his subordinates didn't feel interesting. The only one that kind of felt interesting was one of his commanders that's always there, but other than that, it wasn't very interesting. But there is one villain that saves them. One villain in this entire series that is definitely worth watching. And that is Bosco is the best villain in the series. He is outstanding. He's constantly being able to outdo the Gokaigers and is by far their biggest threat in the series. Now, he's a man from Marvelous's past, and that's the only spoilers I will mention, because he's a really interesting and fun character, and his past with Marvelous is really awesome to see on screen, and I suggest that you do that. Like, you don't spoil yourself on who Basco is or what he can do. Just watch the series and be surprised. Because every time he is on screen, you love to hate him. He's smug, arrogant, a jackass, and he possesses Marvelous's thirst for excitement, and his greed exceeds even Luca's. Plus, that feather boa he has is really, really fabulous. I mean, come on, that thing is beautiful. But, sadly, our next topic isn't as fabulous as Basco's boa, and that is the music. Now, I don't have all that much to say about the music. It's okay. There's nothing really stand out about it. The music is good, but nothing really memorable aside from the main theme, which I really do like, and it's a fun theme to listen to, and I never really skipped it, which makes a good theme. If you don't skip it every time you start up a video, then you have a really good solid theme, and it does get me very excited for the episode, and I do like to sing along a bit. And it does play when they fight, like not all the time, but some of the big fight scenes it'll play, and it does help to boost up that particular fight scene really, really well. Now up next is my final verdict of the series. I highly recommend this series. I recommend this series so damn highly that I wrote that shit in bold and underlined the fuck out of it. I really love Gokaiger. It was my first full Sentai, and it's got me hooked into Sentai. I'm going back. I'm watching Deca Ranger. I'm watching Gokaiger. I finished Kyorujas. I'm gonna go watch some more, and I'm really, really liking Super Sentai now. And this brought me perfectly into it. It's very interesting. It's a really good, like the rest of my review has said, and there are a ton of things to keep you invested into the Sentai. And as an added bonus for the older Super Sentai fans, at least one member of every previous Super Sentai team makes an appearance, and it's really well handled. Some get a lot more screen time than others, but they all don't feel wasted. They all feel like they have a purpose, and they're all there, and they're really interesting. Now, I would suggest going for the TV Nihon subgroup. That is the group I get all my Sentai from. They are amazing. Now, and thank you very much for watching my very first review. I love you all. Please give me constructive feedback. I'm going to get hate, but I would really like some constructive feedback from you guys, seeing what I could change, what I could do next time. And next time is going to be Kyoruja. I'm not very good at pronouncing Japanese things, obviously, but that's the next Sentai. I don't know when it's going to be out. It'll be out eventually. I guess whenever I done with school, maybe. Actually, no, that'll be months, so fuck that. It'll be a little bit because I'm still in school and I still have a bunch of stuff to do, but I'll try my best to get all the footage and I might have to rewatch it because it's been a little bit, but I will. That is definitely going to be my next one. So tune in next time, whenever the hell that is, for Super Sentai Noob Reviews Kyoruja.